This tutorial will show you how to shade using pen. You will learn 4 techniques: hatching, cross-hatching, stippling, and scumbling. At the end, you will see how the techniques were put together to make an illustration. Let's start with our first technique, which is called hatching. Hatching is a series of straight little lines that go in the same direction. Now, they can go straight up and down, they can go side to side, they can go diagonal, it doesn't matter. But one thing we do want to keep in mind, and this is true for all these techniques, is the rule of thumb is that to show different values, as you cluster your lines closer together, that's going to help you show darker values, whereas they're further apart, they're going to be lighter. So here's a time lapse of me filling in a little value scale using hatching. And then to put this into practice so you can kind of see an example, I'm going to show a little picture of an apple here. And I'm keeping my light source in mind. So the light is coming from the left and it's going to get darker off to the right. So there you can see how that looks. Now for our next technique, this one is called cross-hatching. So it's really similar to the hatching, only now we're crisscrossing our lines. So again, we can do this diagonally or we can do this vertically and horizontally. But the key is the closer together we cluster those lines, the darker values we're going to be able to get. So you can see when I move my hand here, the variety. So here's my cross hatching. I'm trying to have these change, but change gradually. So I'm trying to show contrast, but also gradation with them. So they don't change all at once drastically, there's a progression. Our third technique is called stippling. So this technique, I'm actually going to switch to my bigger marker because this one is pretty time consuming, so it helps to be able to fill a little space. So stippling is just little dots. The closer you cluster them, the darker you get. This one, like I said, it's time consuming, but you also have the most control, I would say, of the 4. So some people like it for that reason. Some people hate it for that reason because it takes so much time. So there again, changing gradually. There's a transition, but yet we see that contrast. And then our last technique is called scumbling. So what scumbling is it's a controlled scribble. Now, keyword being controlled. We're not going all over the place and making this into a hot mess, but it does have, I would say, the most expressiveness and looseness of the 4 techniques. So same idea there, just kind of curly Q, back and forth scribbles, controlled scribbles, layering, clustering them closer together to get darker. And as you can see, that one goes pretty quick. So there that one goes, that one has a lot of feeling to it. So now I want you to see how this can come together in one big picture. So this is an illustration I did. It was a very time-consuming illustration, but I did use a lot of these techniques and then I watercolored over them. But we're going to kind of zoom in here. You can see on the house hatching and cross-hatching, and the shrubbery, more scumbling, on the rocks, more stippling. Once again here, cross-hatching on the house, a little hatching in the grass, kind of that scumbling to show that billowing smoke. Same thing even on the tree there, but it's more curved hatching and cross-hatching to show the roundness. Some stippling on the sidewalk, kind of just all over in all different places. These techniques have been used to show different textures, but it's showing you the value too. So it can kind of all come together to make an illustration. These techniques can be applied to a variety of media, from colored pencil to paint. Using them will allow you to show texture and shading, but create a different sense of style in your work.